welcome to Storyboard. I am Anuradha Sengupta. We're going to start with the news that NDTV has sued Nielsen and a host of other companies that own and operate TAM. They've claimed damages to the tune of over $1.3 billion on charges of fraud, corruption and negligence. The case has been filed in the New York State Supreme Court claiming violations of the U.S. law, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. The most damaging charge by NDTV is the fact that TAM employees were willing to tamper with people meter data and manipulate ratings in return for money. Companies including TAM, the Nielsen Company, Kantar Media Research, WPP, JWT and IMRB have been named as defendants. Some individuals, including David Calhoun, the global CEO of the Nielsen Company, have also been named. When contacted, an NDTV spokesperson said, "We confirm we filed a lawsuit in the Supreme Court of New York State. Because the matter is sub judice, we have no further comments at this time." A TAM spokesperson, when contacted, said TAM India, a 50-50 joint venture between Kantar Media and Nielsen, doesn't comment on any litigation. But WPP, which has been named as a defendant along with some of its subsidiaries, on August 2nd, when contacted, said, "We believe that any publicized lawsuit has absolutely no merit whatsoever, although as of last night, our advisors could not find it." That means that as of Thursday, WPP had not been served and claimed no knowledge that this litigation had been filed. No matter what the legal outcome or merits of the case, it has put the spotlight on the TV ratings that TAM provides. This rating system is the only industry standard to gauge viewership and allocate TV ad spends. Here are some reactions that have come into some of the issues that have been raised.
While I don't have the details of the case, but NDTV is a very serious and very mature broadcasting company. I'm sure they have done their homework and they have reasons to be aggrieved, and they have enough, enough evidences to seek redressal. That's why they've gone to a court. So we'll have to wait for the outcome of the case. We at IBF have always felt that there is, there is a need to improve the transparency, robustness and objectivity of the rating system.
The moment you actually disrupt something like measurement and ratings, you are actually threatening the very basis of how the industry earns its livelihood from the advertising source. Now the question is that do our industry leaders swing into action and take finally a set of long pending actions that are needed at this point with a great deal of urgency? Or do we actually see this entire issue sink into a debased set of conversations and accusations and rumors? Is really for all of us to decide.
Now, interestingly, most media agencies and industry veterans who lead industry associations and their clients, the advertisers, both parties who use this data, decline to comment on the case or the can of worms that it has opened up.
I don't see why it should impact them. If anything, it is the broadcasters who've been aggrieved, because if one broadcaster has genuine reasons of complaints and those complaints are found to be valid, then I'm sure the same grief must be applied to all other broadcasters.
I don't want to talk about this case in particular. It's between two parties, but just want to make a point about TAM, which is really the rating system that the industry follows. And I mean, there have been other systems that have kind of come and gone, but TAM has kind of remained. Yeah, our clients have been asking us in terms of what could be the ramifications, and I think all we have to say is that all stakeholders need to kind of get together across the table and kind of figure things out.
I don't think advertisers will particularly be very vocal in their demands for a change in the TV measurement system, and the primary reason is that advertisers are perhaps secondary or tertiary users. So while they actually fund the entire system very, very indirectly, the primary users are actually agencies and broadcasters, and because they are primary recipients and consumers of that information set, they will perhaps lead all conversations relating to what changes should typically happen within the system.
This is not the first big controversy around TV ratings. In 2001, on CNBC TV18, we had found and reported that both TAM and INTAM, that's the other agency that was existing then, Their Mumbai sample lists were available for the taking. Questions about tampering and security of people meter data and the credibility of the system were raised even at that time. But it was only in March this year, 6 years after the idea was first proposed, that the Broadcast Audience Research Council was formally registered. Owned by the IBF, ISA and the AAAs, the BARC is expected to have a bigger universe and more robust representation and analysis than TAM's 8,160 TV households across 147 cities provides. But the BARC is far from being ready.
I think it's very, very urgent to get BARC up and running, and we have been pushing it very aggressively at IBF. The ministry has been very keen that we get BARC up and running. Unfortunately, the other stakeholders who are supposed to be, partners in BARC have not shown the same urgency, and sometimes we wonder why. Because we are very keen, and we feel that the time is running out, and we must get it up and running immediately.
I wouldn't want to comment on whether it should be BARC or TAM or XYZ. I think as an industry, as a member of the advertising industry fraternity, I think like everybody else, I think we would want a rating system that is credible and that all stakeholders kind of buy into. So it doesn't really matter where it comes from.
We have been sitting with a blueprint of what that change could look like. Right? We've been sitting with that blueprint for a period of time. There is no merit and there is nothing to be gained by conducting a post-mortem of why it has not happened until now. In fact, I see this as a positive thing that says if it spurs us, if it spurs all the participants in the industry, the entire value chain, everybody, I'm not just talking about broadcasters, to move in the direction of now, birthing BARC and then making BARC do what it is meant to do and what it is being designed to do. I think we would have had a very, very good outcome out of the catharsis.
How the NDTV case is decided will be known in time. In the short term, TAM is likely to feel some heat and get some stick, probably forcing the organization to go on the defensive. But what about the industry? Well, it likes to stay with the status quo, and the only long-term worthwhile impact of this case is that the BARC may get jump-started. Otherwise, frankly, it will be another situation of been there, seen that, and looked the other way. Let's take a break here, but coming up ahead on Storyboard.